You are describing a scenario that's very different than my adaptive situation. So mine is I feel judgment, especially I feel judged. I feel judged. And when that lands, like meaning it triggers me, I will raise my sword. What I've noted uncomfortably is that in that sword is the mirror reflection. That's the metaphor. I can see myself, and the way that I am then judging back is exactly the same as what I am judging somebody else for. So if I say, I can't believe how much you lack nuance, in that moment, I am lacking nuance, probably. We enact exactly that which we judge when we judge. So there is the experience. The rubric I like to invoke for this is the villain crown stuff. There is the experience when we go deeper into this in inner circle. So there is the experience of being judged. When you are being judged, you have this opportunity to try it on, to wear that villain crown and just allow somebody else to think that you are bad and wrong. And when you do that, you can assess whether or not it fits. In the podcast, I talk about how I was kicked out of a group recently for their bylaws. Their community included that members were in some way not able to express themselves immodestly, profanely, or promiscuously, or something like that. And so apparently I violated that with my public brand and whatever. And this was hugely triggering for me on many levels because I'm used to being judged for my scientific and intellectual perspectives, and I'm new to being judged for the way that I comport myself as a woman, and publicly anyway. So when I tried that on, I tried on the immodesty, and I was like, yeah, kind of fits. I mean, look at what I'm wearing now, skin tight crop top. Okay. So that's arguable if we're going to default to the conventional social definitions. The profanity, yeah, I have an absolute trucker mouth, and I grew up in New Jersey. It's just in the water there. I don't know. And I haven't really expressed so much of that publicly until recently as I integrate this and just play with like, will I experience terminal cancellation if I am actually who I am? The promiscuity thing, I was like, that doesn't fit. That's just not accurate. So that just slid off. So there I have this opportunity to really see and then make a choice and assess my choices with a sober mind and a clear heart. So when we judge others, and I argue this is a very adaptive thing for us to do. It's part of our assessment. And the only difference between judgment and discernment is that with discernment, you retain your power of choice and you do not need somebody to be bad and wrong. So you don't need to be the litigator and get up on your damn podium and make sure that you educate the ignorant person about how bad and wrong they are so that you can make your choice. But you're describing that you don't even raise your sword aloft. You're just in this state of being like, oh, why is she wearing that? Or like, I can't believe she keeps touching her hair like that. Or why is he walking on my lawn? Or whatever it is, right? In those judgments, there's a lot of gold because you are interacting with someone who's holding a part of you. And the more sensation you have about the judgment, the more that part is just ripe for reclamation. Usually these judgments of others fall into two categories, but I'm sure there's infinite categories. But let's say one of them is some way of being that you do not feel you have permission to be because of the rules you were raised in. So I have a long history of judging women that I experience as being easily overwhelmed and incapable of managing their lives and basically incompetent. Those are all masculine qualities, interestingly. So those women whose lives are just a shit show and they're kept women by the alimony from their ex or whatever, and they're just sitting there not doing anything and just overwhelmed. I would feel judgmental of women who can't get their shit together because the way that I was raised, that is not allowed. And you would lose love, I would say, particularly from my father, but I would lose love for being incapable or slow or stupid or whatever the things. And I got love when I performed in this predictable, achievement oriented way, productivity oriented way. So I don't have permission to be that woman. And guess what? I bet I would like to know what it's like to be that woman who's just like, fuck it, who's just like, I'm going to live on the dole and I'm going to sit here and smoke cigarettes and watch TV and drink and then complain about it. There's absolutely a part of me that is curious about what it would be like to have the permission to inhabit that archetype. So it's either something you don't feel you have permission to be. And the more restrictive our permission field is, the more we are going to be in this dance. So I might judge a woman who has an OnlyFans account or something like that and is making her money off of pictures of her feet or whatever. And the more that bothers me, the more it's possible that it's a taboo. It's holding erotic tension with me because I want to be that bad. I want to. And only until I am that bad will I actually reclaim that erotic energy back into my actual lived life. Or this person represents a part of you that you already are. And you're in this almost like denial. So you stuff that part in the shadow. When I lived in New York and practiced as a psychiatrist, I was never late. Never late. First of all, I would charge by the minute overage of the 45-minute session. And I would start right to the minute. And I would show up everywhere on time. And I was just never late. But that's probably not true. When I was late, I would have a really good excuse. And it would be circumstantial. And it wouldn't confer any implications about my character. When I moved to Miami, everyone, well, of course, not always so absolute, but most people take a lot of liberties with punctuality here. And I remember over and over and over again, whether it was the pool guy or my girlfriend for dinner, just witnessing people show up when they island time, like show up when they feel like it. And these days, I have embraced that I'm actually usually late to things. So I was already the person who was late. I was just projecting and judging that person I already was in somebody else. If I was bothered by somebody who was late when I was up in New York, it's because I was projecting this dimension of myself I was unwilling to see is already here. So there's a lot of room with this experience of judgment to basically ask, my girlfriend Tara and I, we do this practice. She just taught a whole workshop on this. Like, how am I this person? Or how do I want to be this person? What if I secretly want to be this person? And that really flips it on its head, because no longer is it about how you're good and they're bad, how you get it and they don't, and how imperative it is on some level that they get it so that you feel more comfortable in the world and they're not reminding you of the you that didn't get it before, that you are yourself actually judging still and in rejection of. So to circle back around to the rejection theme, how is it that we can take the opportunity when we are judging ourselves or somebody else to interact with whatever it is that we imagine we're judging with more lightness, more curiosity, more softness just inside yourself, and play with the possibility that we can't actually be so sure that we figured it out, that we know the thing that is wrong and bad to be and the thing that is right to be, whether we are on that side of the fence or this one. I like to keep it pretty simple, and to remember that whenever it is, I imagine I'm in a position to educate somebody about how ignorant they are, about how they're wrong, that my shadow is operative, and I do it. I still do it. And I have compassion for why I do it. And it makes sense that I do it. And if I can really begin to feel into that little invitation, that little part that's like, hey, there's something here for you. It's me. That ultimately I will be far more able to bring the lightness of a little smile to those moments where I feel the devastation of rejection or the disappointment and resentment rather of rejecting somebody else.